Patoruzú. Patoruzú is a comic character created in 1928 by Dante Quinterno and is considered the most popular hero of Argentine comics. Patoruzú is a wealthy Tehuelche cacique with great estate properties in Patagonia and possesses both superhuman physical strength and a charitable yet naive heart. He was originally only a side character in Quinterno's series Don Gil Contento, but became so popular with readers that the comic was renamed after him. History. Patoruzú first appeared on October 19, 1928, in the Las Aventuras de Don Gil Contento strip in the Critica newspaper under the name of Curuguaguiguagua, last cacique of the giant Tehuelches, of whom Don Gil becomes tutor. The name was deemed too difficult to pronounce and was soon changed to Patoruzú, after the then popular candy pasta de Orazú. Nevertheless, the strip was cancelled by the newspaper after only a few days. Later that year, Dante Quinterno started working for La Razón newspaper with the strip Don Julian de Montepío, predecessor of another of Quinterno's popular characters, the playboy Isidoro Canons. In September 1930, Patoruzú was again introduced into the strip when Don Julian became his tutor. Slowly, Patoruzú assumed greater importance in the strip, which on December 11, 1931, was renamed to Patoruzú. In 1935, Quinterno sold the publication rights to El Mundo newspaper, and the first compilation of the adventures of the cacique was published. The strip was also published in newspapers in other Argentine cities outside of Buenos Aires. In November 1936, the first Patoruzú monthly magazine was released and completely sold out the same day. The magazine was then published fortnightly and then weekly. The magazine reached a record circulation of 300,000 copies, soon requiring a team to create its scripts and drawings under the supervision of Quinterno. On April 30, 1977, the 2045th and last issue of Patoruzú was released. Slightly adapted versions of the original have been published, as well as the comic Patoruzito, about the life of young Patoruzú. In 1942, the 12-minute short film Yupa and Apuros was the first Latin American animated film produced in color. Characters. Patoruzú is the last descendant of the fictional Tehuelche Patoruzek dynasty. The source of his uncommon strength seems to be related to what he was fed as a child, soup made from the bones of an extinct giant animal, but also to the strength of all his ancestors, which he receives whenever he faces injustice. He is extremely generous and charitable, but is often deceived by greedy characters, who in the end are always properly punished. Patoruzú uses many native expressions that give his speech an aboriginal flavor. However, they derive from different tribes of Argentina and so are not consistent with each other, e.g. Guarani Curi, Guarani Chi, etc. Isidoro Canons, an incorrigible playboy and stereotypical Portino, he is supposed to be Patoruzú's tutor and look after him, but he spends most of his time trying to find new ways of getting more Patacones bills out of him, to spend on parties, cars, and horses. Yupa, Patoruzú's teenage brother, is shy and naive, yet more aware of modern ways than his older brother. He has a big belly that he uses as a weapon whenever injustice is to be fought. Patora is the youngest sister. She lives in a convent in Patagonia, because her obsessive desire to get married makes her fall for the first man she sees. La Checha, Patoruzú's nanny and wet nurse, lives on the Estancia ranch, far from any city. In spite of her age, she is vigorous and hard-working. Her empanadas are highly appreciated by the other characters. Nankal, the foreman of Patoruzú's estancia, he is often in a bad mood, but Patoruzú respects and trusts him. Coronel Canons, the colonel, the quintessential retired military man, is the uncle and tutor of Isidoro. A very correct and respected person, he is always trying to straighten out his nephew. Pampero Pampero from the Pampa, and also the name of a strong southern wind, meaning in essence that he runs like the wind, is Patoruzu's faithful horse, one of the fastest, if not the fastest, in the world. He responds only to Patoruzu's call. Patoruzito. This modern comic is set during the early years of the life of Patoruzu, with Isidorito young Isidoro, Patoruzito young Patoruzu, and his horse Pamperito young Pampero.